You know that moment when the world slows down and every breath feels like it's pulling you under? That's how it started for me. Right there in the glow of twinkling Christmas lights. Parked outside my parents' sprawling Charleston home. The driveway was jammed with cars, Audis and Lexuses from relatives who only showed up for the optics, and I had to squeeze my beat-up Honda 3 houses down. The December chill bit through my coat as I trudged up with a foil-covered dish of pecan pie I'd baked from scratch. The kind Mom used to rave about back when she still remembered my name. The porch light flickered like a bad omen. And, for a split second, I hesitated, hand hovering over the doorknob. Maybe this year it'd be different. Maybe they'd see me. But deep down, I knew better. I pushed the door open anyway. The laughter hit me first. Sharp and rehearsed. Bouncing off the polished hardwood floors like it was scripted for a Hallmark movie gone wrong. The air smelled of glazed ham and evergreen. But it choked me, thick with the unspoken. There she was, my sister, Sophia, perched by the mantel in a designer sweater that screamed success, swirling a glass of Cabernet like she owned the room. Which, let's be real, she did. Oh, Emily, she cooed, spotting me like I was a stray cat wandering in. We weren't sure you'd make it. Traffic must have been a nightmare. Her smile was all teeth. No warmth. And the relatives milling around, cousins, aunts. That one uncle who always talked stocks barely glanced my way. I muttered something about the drive from Atlanta being fine and handed off the pie to a passing niece. Scanning the room for the seating chart Mom insisted on every year. Like we were at a gala instead of a family dinner. My name wasn't on it. Not at the main table. Not even squeezed in at the end. Sophia sidled up, her perfume cloying. We had a few last-minute additions. You can grab the folding chair by the kitchen island. It's cozy. Cozy? It was a kid's table reject. Shoved against the wall with plastic forks and a view of the trash bin. I didn't argue. Didn't raise my voice. I just sat. Poured myself a soda that went flat in minutes. And watched as Sophia held court, regaling Dad with tales of her latest real estate flip in downtown Savannah. Mom clinked glasses with the neighbors, her laughter tinkling like fragile glass. And me? I was wallpaper. Invisible. The kind of silence that screams inside your head. Building like a storm you can't outrun. As the night dragged, the slights piled up, each one a tiny cut that bled slow. Mom introduced me to some distant relative from Florida as Emily, who's just passing through for the holidays. Passing through? I'd grown up in this house, scraped my knees on that very porch. But now I was a guest in my own history. My niece, Lily, sweet kid with her wild curls, avoided my eyes all evening. When I cornered her by the bathroom, she whispered, "Mom said you're not really part of the family anymore. Like, you moved away and stuff." Her words landed like a gut punch, the innocence in her voice making it worse. I knelt down, forced a smile. I'll always be your aunt, kiddo. No matter what. But, even as I said it, doubt not at me. Was I fighting for scraps in a place that had already thrown me out? Sophia's toast came next. All about family bonds that endure, her voice dripping with that polished charm she'd honed in boardrooms. No mention of my consulting gig. The one pulling in six figures advising startups across the Southeast. No nod to the times I'd wired money for her law school loans or covered Lily's summer camp when things got tight. Just her. The golden child. Basking in applause. I gripped my glass tighter. The red wine untouched. My silence a shield and a weapon all at once. Outside later. In the crisp night air laced with salt from the nearby harbor. I sat in my car. Engine off. Staring at a draft email on my phone. This is the last time. You'll see why soon. I deleted it. Words weren't enough anymore. Actions would be. I popped the trunk. checked the bags I'd packed days earlier, just in case, and felt a twisted smile creep up. They thought they were erasing me, but I'd already started rewriting the story. Back inside, the party had shifted to dessert and slideshows, the projector humming as images flickered on the wall. Vacations in the Outer Banks, birthdays at the lake house, memories that should have included me. But there I was, cropped out of last Thanksgiving's group shot. My arms severed mid-hug like I'd never been there. A cousin leaned over, smirking. "You got the ghost treatment." Huh. I didn't laugh. Didn't respond. Inside, something fractured. Not with a bang, but a quiet snap. This wasn't forgetfulness. It was deliberate. Calculated. Like they'd photoshopped me out of their perfect narrative because I didn't fit the frame, too independent. Too intense, as Mom always put it. I'd been bumped from the toast lineup too. The one I'd prepped weeks ago with a light anecdote about family resilience. The coordinator shrugged it off. "Mrs. Hawthorne said to skip to Sophia's remarks. Time crunch. Right. Always time for her. Never for me." The pain simmered. Low and insistent. Like a pot left on the stove too long. I watched Dad stir his coffee, avoiding my gaze, while Mom flashed that brittle smile across the room, the one that said, "Everything's fine, dear." But it wasn't. Mrs. Jenkins, the nosy neighbor with her overpowering floral scent, whispered, "You all right?" "Hon." I nodded, voice steady, just realizing how loud the quiet can be. She didn't get it. But I did. The real hurt wasn't the omissions, it was that no one noticed. No one cared enough to question why I was fading. That night, alone on the porch where I'd once chased fireflies as a kid, I replayed it all. Sophia's snide comment overheard in the hall, Emily's little finance hustle, total flop. She poured everything in and ended up scraping by. Laughter followed. Light and cruel. She didn't know or chose to forget that my flop exit had funded her degree. I'd never bragged about it. Thought family didn't keep score. But they did. And I was always losing. By morning, the house stirred with the smell of reheated leftovers. But the tension hung thicker than fog over the marshes. I poured coffee at the island, my seat from the night before, and finally spoke up. The gift tag on Mom's book, the signed first edition I hunted down, it got switched to Sophia's name. Forks paused. Mom waved it off. "Sister share. Emily. Don't be petty." Petty? It wasn't the book, it was the theft of intent. The way they stripped my gestures bare and handed them to her like I was irrelevant. Dad grunted. "Let's not spoil the day." "And Sophia?" She rolled her eyes. Always the drama queen. The words ignited something deep. A slow burn turning to flame. I wasn't dramatic. I was done. That afternoon, as wrapping paper littered the floor and the dog got more praise than I ever had, good boy, always loyal, I stood. Looked Mom in the eye. "I won't fade quietly anymore. You've made me your ghost. But I'm done haunting this place." Sophia scoffed. "What? You're leaving?" Big threat. Dad raised a hand. But I cut him off. "No. This time. You listen. You've rewritten me out for years. Now I'm writing my own ending." I didn't yell. Didn't slam doors. Just grabbed my coat, started the car, and drove into the gray dawn. The trunk heavy with everything I'd quietly prepared. They thought it was a bluff. But as I crossed the city limits, whispering to the empty road, "You won't miss me because you never saw me," I felt the weight lift. Clarity. Sharp as a blade. The roadside diner off Highway 17 was a greasy spoon haven, with vinyl booths and a waitress who called me sugar without a hint of irony. I nursed black coffee, scrolling through my phone. There it was, removed from the family group chat. Erased from the shared calendar. A voicemail from Lily, Aunt M. Mom says you're not coming back. But I miss you. Kept those shells we found. Her voice cracked. And mine nearly did too. But this wasn't just grief, it was the price of staying true. They'd poisoned even her view of me. I deleted the threads. Blocked the numbers. Not in rage, but resolve. Freedom tasted bitter. Like salt on an open wound. But it was mine. I checked into a modest inn on Sullivan's Island. The oceans roar a bomb against the silence they'd left me with. Laptop open. I dove into work, client portfolios. Investment strategies, the proof I wasn't the failure they painted. But the loop played, Sophia's mockery at dinner. Financial coaching for mommy bloggers? Cute. Laughter rippling. Mom sipping wine. Dad pretending not to hear. I'd swallowed it then. But now it fueled me. I pulled out the fireproof folder, deeds. Trusts. The inheritance from Grandpa I'd kept secret. The beach house in my name. Accounts untouched by their greed. They'd never know until it hit. Days blurred into purpose. I drafted the article in Stolen Moments. Titled Cropped Out, When Family Erases You and You Build Anew. It poured out raw. Unfiltered, the betrayals. The quiet thefts. The cost of silence. The editor called it explosive. When it went live, the tide shifted. Comments flooded. I've been there, you're not alone. Then Sophia's Instagram post, her posing at my beach house. Captioning, Generational Blessings Legacy. The audacity boiled my blood. But I didn't strike. The internet did. Isn't that Emily's? Read her article. She deleted it. Scrambling. Messages poured in from old friends. Neighbors, we only heard one side. Truth. Finally. Louder than their lies. The call from Dad came next. Voice gravelly, read your piece. Well written. I should have done more. But his more was excuses, habits. Pressures. I pushed back. You watched them sell Grandma's bracelet. The one meant for me. Stood by while they rewrote my worth. Silence. We can move forward, he offered. You already did without me, I said. Hanging up. Intact. Whole. Then the envelope from Lily, Mom's addendum to the trust. Naming me sole beneficiary. Real estate. Investments. The family foundation. No note. Just ink justice. Notarized. The boardroom meeting was the climax. I walked in. Folder in hand. Under the revised trust. I'm chair. Sophia blinked. Dad sputtered. You can't, but the papers said otherwise. You erased me. Now I control the frame. Leora, Lily, slipped in later with a box of my old letters Mom had hoarded. She remembered, she whispered. A hug. Real and raw. That night, I burned the last photos. Flames consuming the illusions. I emailed, we're done. Overlapping paperwork ends now. Dissolved assets. Reclaimed my name. On the podcast, the host asked the cost of walking away. The hardest part? Realizing you never belonged. The power? Owning what they denied. My signature sealed it. Mom's final gift wasn't wealth. It was the strength to end the silence. To pay the price. And emerge unbroken.